Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about Fedora gaming. This is the KDE variant of Fedora. I have a RTX 4060 with me, as you can see, and I'm going to talk about everything from setting up RPM Fusion, installing Nvidia drivers, updating the system, having multimedia codecs, managing Proton versions, and everything else that you need to game on Linux, because Microslop, that's gone, right? We are going to game on Linux today, and if you're interested, grab a popcorn, grab a cup of coffee, and this is going to be a walkthrough tutorial, so stick with me and we're going to dive right in. All right, welcome back. So the first thing after you install Fedora Linux, let's assume this is a fresh system. I mean, I actually did install the system today. So we are going to be greeted by the Welcome Center at first. So this is how you're going to be greeted with once you install Fedora. Let's click on next. I mean, it talks about how Plasma is great, how Fedora KDE is very powerful, and it in fact is. Like, KDE supports VRR, proper HDR support. What else do you need for gaming? It's objectively a little bit better than GNOME at this point, and it also provides better frame rates and more FPS while gaming, even though that margin is not huge, but it definitely is there. Anyway, skipping all of this, the most important thing for you is to enable third-party repositories. I already have it enabled, so it's asking me to disable that. We're not going to do it, obviously. So at first, it's going to ask you to enable it. You're going to click it, enter your password, and boom. Third-party repositories are going to be enabled. What does this actually do? It enables your Steam and Nvidia drivers, but for the rest of the non-free stuff that you would need on Linux, you have to enable the RPM Fusion. With RPM Fusion, you are able to get a lot of the multimedia codecs and enabling a lot of software to be downloaded to your computer, which otherwise would not be. So let's just go ahead and search for RPM Fusion. RPM Fusion, let's just hit enter, and this is RPM Fusion, right? So let's just open this up in a new tab because we're going to need that page later. And it says enable RPM Fusion on your system. Now there are two ways of doing this. If you are in Firefox, which is the default which is the default Internet Explorer over here, you can actually download the RPM Fusion free version for Fedora 44. So once you click on it, it asks you to download a little package. And once that package downloads, you can just install it onto your computer just like this, right? I already have it downloaded a couple of times. So as you can see, all of these are here. Now, once you click on the free version, so let's just go ahead and double click this. It's going to launch Discover, which is the software center for KDE. And it's going to ask you to install this from here, right? An install button is going to come up over here, and you're going to install the RPM Fusion free version. After this, you're going to go ahead and download the RPM Fusion non-free version again onto your computer, go to your file manager, and then double click on the RPM non-free release. Again, Discover is going to open up. You're going to have an install button appear, and in that install button, you are going to install it onto your computer. So RPM Fusion, basically you're unlocking both the free and the non-free directories. If you don't really want to follow this, what you can do is actually run this entire command, right? This entire command not only enables free, but also the non-free repository onto your computer with one single click. So you copy this line, you open up terminal, so you can hit Alt plus spacebar. This opens up KRunner, which is kind of like Spotlight on macOS. You say console, or you can even write terminal if you want to. Hit enter, terminal opens up, Control-Shift-V to paste it. You hit enter, and it's going to ask you for your password. You enter your password, enter again, and then it's going to update and load the repositories for RPM Fusion. It says nothing to do because already it's been installed on my computer. After this step, what you actually need to do is update your computer. Without having your computer up to date, it's really a bad idea to start working on stuff. So there are two ways to update. Number one, you could actually say sudo dnf upgrade or update, right? They're basically the same on Fedora. This will actually update your entire system, right? I'm not going to do it right now, but this actually will do that. The other way to do this is actually opening up the Discover Software Center, right? As you can see, it says see available updates. You can even right click on the icon and see the available updates. And I mean, this is a good lesson, right? If your software center is not really working, you don't have to depend on it. Maybe you want to restart your computer, that'll fix it. But you can just go to the terminal and update your computer from there, right? It doesn't matter if an application isn't working or not. Okay, after this step, what you would want to do is enable the multimedia codecs from RPM Fusion. So again, you do a quick Google search for RPM Fusion and you will get this result: how to install multimedia. Click on it. Now, you do need to switch to full FFmpeg, right? Fedora FFmpeg free, it works most of the time, but for the full experience, you would actually need the complete FFmpeg package. So you copy this line, sudo dnf FFmpeg free to FFmpeg and allow erasing. So you are erasing the older FFmpeg that you had, and then you are downloading the full package for FFmpeg. It asks you for the password, you enter it, hit enter. It would ask you to say yes, and before pressing yes, as you can see, it is removing the dependent packages for the free FFmpeg and installing the actual full FFmpeg with decoding support for x264 and x265, so your h264 and HVC codecs, right? So that's pretty good. You hit enter, and I mean, you press Y, you hit enter, and this will install all of the packages that you need onto your computer. Apart from this, while this downloads, you can also install other stuff. So you actually can go ahead and download additional codecs as well. So for example, the following command will install the complements multimedia packages needed by GStreamer enabled applications. And if you are on an Intel graphics card, you will want to run this line as well. So sudo dnf Intel media driver. If you are using an AMD graphics card, which runs with Mesa drivers, you will run this command. And it's actually safer to also have the 32-bit packages. If you are on Nvidia, the Nvidia proprietary driver that we are about to install, it does not support VA API natively, but there is a wrapper that can bridge the Nvidia decode and encode, which we lovingly call NVENC, with VA API. And for this, you actually need the sudo dnf install libva Nvidia driver. But as you can see, you also, I mean, it's probably safer to have both a 32-bit and the 64-bit flavor in one command installed on your computer. So you can just run this and it will install the 32-bit package, which is this one, the i686, and the x86-64 package, which is the 64-bit version as well. Now, if you have a DVD player, if you want to play DVDs, you install these commands as well. So this is how to install multimedia codecs. Now, why is this important? This is important for game cutscenes, for video playback, for OBS, browser media playback like right now in Firefox, and even for Discord streaming. After this step, we are actually going to go ahead and install the Nvidia drivers onto our computer. It looks like this is not installed right now. It says it asks you to install the GPG key for the RPM Fusion free, and right now all of the packages are installed for FFmpeg, right? We're gonna clear this and move on to installing Nvidia drivers. Once you have enabled the RPM non-free repositories, or actually enabled third-party repositories at the beginning of your Fedora 44 welcome tour, all you need to do is run one single command to enable the Nvidia driver on your computer. So you type sudo dnf install and then akmod akmod -nvidia space, that's 0. Let's just go back, fix this, akmod nvidia, and then space xorg -x11. So this is the x11 windowing system. drv, I'm assuming that's the driver, nvidia -cuda, and then, if you don't want to hit Y again and again, you just enter a yes flag, so that's -y. If you hit enter, obviously it's going to ask you for your password if you haven't, and it would install the Nvidia drivers onto your computer. And it says package akmod is already installed, so I do have the 595 drivers. So if I say Nvidia -smi, it's going to give me the complete installation of the Nvidia driver. But wait, there is actually another thing that you must do to to verify that your installation has been done properly. So what you do is you also type mod info -F version space Nvidia. Hit enter, and right now, as you can see, all the modules have been compiled and we are able to see the version number 595.71.05. So this is our Nvidia driver version on Fedora Linux. And you can also check, right? If I do Nvidia X server settings, it's going to open up the X server settings for Nvidia. So my drivers are perfectly installed. And I mean, if you're on Nvidia, you probably will be on the Nouveau drivers. So the first order of business, if you have a hybrid laptop set to the DGPU mode, or if you have a PC running an Nvidia card, the first thing that you would do after installation is actually reboot your computer. Only after this will the driver modules get loaded into the kernel, and then you are free to game. Now, another thing, if you are using Secure Boot, like I do have Secure Boot disabled from my BIOS on this laptop, but if you do have it enabled, you are going to have to enroll the Secure Boot keys. Now, the next step is actually installing Steam. So you can install Steam. Again, you have two ways. You can either do it through the Software Center, or you could do it through the terminal. Now, if you are installing Steam, you are going to want to install the native package for Fedora, the native RPM preferred way, right? The one you get through the DNF. So let's just open up console again, and we are going to say sudo DNF install Steam. That's all you're going to do. You're going to hit enter, give your password, and it will look for Steam and it will download this onto your computer. For example, with a Flatpak, it may cause problems with external drives. You may need to manage permissions through Flatseal. Controller support is iffy, so I don't know, it's like PlayStation or other gamepads. They require a package called Steam Devices on native installs, like the one that we are doing right now through DNF. Those are handled automatically. With Flatpak, they are not. The system version doesn't always translate into the sandbox, and you also get a whole list of other problems that you can Google, right? But if you anyway did have a Flatpak system, it's not all bad in a Flatpak land, right? All you need to do is download an app called Flatseal from the Discover Software Center, and Flatseal shows you all the Flatpak applications that you do have on your computer, and you can manage their permissions from within this place. If you are on Steam, please do not actually just plug in an NTFS drive for gaming. Linux really does not like that, even though the NTFS drives are there. I mean, the drivers are there. It's really not the preferred way, and you will find out the hard way, right? The best thing is actually ext4 for gaming external drives. So let's just go ahead and launch Steam. We can launch it from here, the KRunner or Spotlight. Like I just call it Spotlight because I'm used to Mac OS. And I absolutely love big picture mode, so that's what I am going into. This is my Steam library. If you want to, you can take a look at it. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, Steam is actually fantastic in big picture mode. It doesn't open up in big picture mode. Obviously, I have it set to big picture mode. Now, the very first thing when you open up Steam is, I mean, apart from logging in, you have to log in through the QR code if you have it on your phone, or just enter your password. You're gonna go to the Steam menu, right? Once you're in the menu, you go to settings, and inside settings, the very first thing you're going to want to do is actually go to compatibility. Inside compatibility, as you can see, Steam Play is enabled for all titles, right? For all titles, whether they're supported or not. Proton is enabled for all titles. If you didn't know what Proton is, it's basically a compatibility layer, a translation layer. It contains different components, and it basically translates the Windows API calls of a game to Linux native calls. So the game doesn't realize it's running on Linux. It thinks it's using DirectX, it's running on Windows, but actually it's running on Vulkan in Linux using Linux drivers, right? If you're on AMD or Intel, this is using the Mesa drivers. If you're on Nvidia, it's using the Nvidia proprietary graphics drivers that we just installed. So basically you would want to have the default compatibility tool. I mean, it's already set to Proton Experimental, but for some games you might want to change the Proton version. So that basically depends on the game. You could do that, and you also have other versions of Proton. We are going to talk a little bit about that later in the video. So that's it. This is for Steam. And another thing, the moment you enable big picture mode, you might notice that the graphics, the animations, they are extremely laggy, right? But now this is very smooth. So what do you do for that? Because I encountered this problem, so I had to go look for the fix. You scroll down, you come to interface. Once you're in interface, you enable GPU accelerated rendering in web views. This is off by default. You enable this, and this is also enabled out of the box, but if it isn't, you might as well go ahead and enable that. Restart Steam and everything should be very, very fluid, right? As you can see, it's really fluid. I don't really have a problem navigating the Steam library, and everything looks very good. And now you are actually ready to play any game you like. Before launching GREE, if you want to monitor your system performance, if you want to check if it is actually running on your discrete GPU, what do? You actually install MangoHUD or GOverlay. So how do we do that? We hit the start menu. What you would do is you would actually go ahead, open up Discover, and download MangoHUD. There is something known as GOverlay. So this is GOverlay. You search for GOverlay and you can download GOverlay for your computer. GOverlay also includes MangoHUD. So this is the user interface, which actually has MangoHUD underneath. You can see this is the GitHub page, and you can download from here as well. You can see it does have steps over here as well for app image, for Flatpak, and for in Arch and other derivatives. You can do it from here as well. So this is the GOverlay page, and how does it look? So let's just go ahead and hit start. Let's just go to GOverlay, hit enter, give it a few seconds. So this is GOverlay, right? And as you can see, if you launch a game, this is what it's going to look like. GOverlay is using MangoHUD, and this is how it would behave. So over here, you can change it. You can change the layouts. You can go full. So it will it will display everything, all your CPU cores, VRAM, CPU, GPU. You can have the basic performance monitor, which is what I like. You can also go basic horizontal. I am really not a big fan of this, but if you want to, you do have the option to switch over to it. Not only this, so once you download GOverlay and MangoHUD, you can see a little command at the end, right? This is a launch command for Steam. So what you're going to do is you're going to copy this. You are going to close GOverlay. We don't really need this. And let's say we're going to want to launch GREE, right? So you click on the gear icon, you go to properties, and inside properties, you can see launch options under general. Inside launch options, you paste it, right? MangoHUD 1 command. Once this is pasted, you go back. Let's just go back. And the moment you launch GREE, it's actually going to give you all of the metrics that you needed to see if your game is indeed properly running on the Nvidia GPU. Now, GREE is a very lightweight game, but this was small. I just downloaded it, and I think it's a really, really good game. Yeah, as you can see, we do have all of the metrics over here. We have CPU, VRAM, GPU, battery, DXVK, which is the translation layer from DirectX to Vulkan. We have all of that good stuff. Right now we're in the game. Let's just go, let's just hit continue. This game is enjoyed best with a gamepad, and I do love gamepad games, but I just don't want to go and pick my gamepad. So this is what you're gonna get. Man, I love GREE. This is the final step, I think, where you kind of walk towards the heaven and you're complete. You have all the colors. I absolutely love the colors in GREE. And this game is just so beautiful, man. And as you can see, we are running at 60 FPS, pretty much 60 FPS. So everything is working as intended. We can move about. Let's jump. There we go. Yeah, I think this is working absolutely fine as intended. And you're going to have a few dips here and there, obviously, depending on your computer. But I think this is a pretty much locked 60 FPS. It's dipping down to 58 a few times, but if I didn't know that, I basically wouldn't have known about it. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, I think we can quit out of this game, and let's move on to the next part. Another very important thing is the moment you open up Steam and you download a few games from Steam, you are going to notice a big problem. If you're unlucky like me, you are going to face severe slow downloads, right? and it's terrible, but there is a very good way to fix it, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. So basically what you do is you go to a Steam configuration folder on your computer. So you type nano/.steam/steam/steamdev.cfg. Now this is the configuration file where we have to add a few lines to actually make our download speeds way faster and bearable. Like, that's the most important thing. You hit enter, and this is the nano text editor, and over here you have to add these 4 lines, right? Now the first 2 lines, the client download enable HTTP to platform Linux, this is the line which is important, and the next line, download rate improvement to add another connection. These 2 lines are the mandatory lines. You can also add the 3rd and the 4th lines. I mean, those are optional, but adding those first 2 lines is going to be more than enough to actually enable good speeds on your computer. Now, once you actually type in these lines inside Nano, you're going to hit Control O to save this. You're going to hit enter, and you're going to hit Control X to exit. Once you open up Steam, as you can see, if I go to library and all games, let's just pick something, say Arkham Asylum. So if I hit install, accept all the EULA and whatever, if I go to the download speeds should be pretty good. As you can see, I have a 100 Mbps connection, not the best, and slowly, as you can see, the speed is climbing to 100 Mbps. So without this fix, you are going to experience severe lags if you're unlucky like me. I had experienced all of this. So for me, it was very frustrating, and I didn't actually know about this fix. So I found it out, and this was incredibly useful for me. As you can see right now, the speeds are almost saturated, and I mean, it's pretty much good to go. So with this fix, you are going to actually get the proper download speeds, and you're not going to have to worry about the bug where the download speeds are a few hundred kilobytes per second instead of a few hundred megabytes or megabits per second as per your connection. Now, apart from this, after you're done with Steam games, if you want to play games from the Epic Games launcher, what you do is, you open up Discover Software Center. I have no idea why it isn't working. You install Heroic. Right? I have installed Heroic over here. You install Heroic, and Heroic allows you to play all your games from the Epic Games Store. And I have a ton of games, right? All of these games were basically free when I got them, and you basically log in, and I mean, all your games are pretty much here. You can you can go to Wine Manager and manage the different Proton versions. Heroic by default uses GE Proton. GE Proton is made by Glorious Eggroll. That's his moniker, sort of, and Glorious Eggroll includes a lot of fixes, a lot of missing multimedia codecs that are not in the actual Proton officially released by Valve, because they can't include a few things due to licensing reasons. So GE Proton is actually better for usage. Now, GE Proton is actually shown up over here in Heroic, but you can also use this in Steam, which is what I'm going to show you next. And by the way, Heroic is from FlatHub, so you need Flatseal to manage all the different permissions for this. Another thing, if you have any game files that you obtain from somewhere else, you can also add a game, right? You can give the title, you can select the platform version and have the wine settings over here, and then choose the wine version which you want to use, and then you can select the executable, right? If you have an executable file which will install the game, you can select the executable file from here, and then you run the installer, right? Now, once the installer runs, once the game is installed on your computer, what you do is you go ahead and then change the executable file location so that the game that is installed on your computer is actually playable instead of the installer file running over and over again. Apart from this, you also have Lutris. So I downloaded Lutris again from the Software Center. So this is Lutris. Yeah, Lutris. I don't really use Lutris anymore. For Lutris, if you really do use Lutris, you are going to have to install Wine. But for Fedora, Wine is already installed. If you really want a quick steps, I can show you. Just hit Wine. And I mean, this gives the actual wine, which I don't drink. Let's just go ahead and block that. Let's just say Wine Linux. Wine HQ. So from here, you can actually download different versions of Wine that suits your fancy, and you can use these wine versions to play games on Lutris. You can set the wine versions to be different Proton versions or Lutris wine versions, or even default wine versions. As you can see, we do have different wine managers, and from here we can change the different wine versions. And last but not least, there is another thing which I have to show you before closing the video. That is, how do you manage the different Proton versions that you have? This is absolutely critical and crucial, and we do it through an app called ProtonUp-Qt. I already searched and installed this, so this is ProtonUp-Qt, which is an excellent file or excellent software that you can actually use to manage your different versions of Proton that you have on your computer. You can either download it from FlatHub or you can download an app image. Either way, if you download the app image, you're going to have to right click on it and mark the app image as executable, or it's not going to run on your computer. So let's just go ahead and run ProtonUp-Qt. There is ProtonUp-Qt. This is a Flatpak. I downloaded the Flatpak variant. Let's just minimize this. And from here, as you can see, we can install Proton for different applications that we have on our system that support Proton. Let's just say you want to enable GE Proton in Steam. So what you do is you click on Steam and you say add version, give it a few seconds, and you want to enable GE Proton 3.4. So you click on that, you say install. It would download the GE Proton. I mean, if it wasn't on your computer, as you can see right now, we are downloading the GE Proton. Let's give it a few seconds. So once GE Proton is installed, what you're going to want to do is actually go over here, open up Steam. So go to games and then open up Steam. And it should actually be there when you have the compatibility list of Protons. So let's just go to the menu, let's go to settings, and then go to compatibility. And over here, you should actually find the list. And as you can see, we do have a GE Proton entry in the Steam Proton Manager itself. And if you want to check compatibility of your games on Linux, what you do is you go to Proton, why am I not able to type, dude? ProtonDB. And this would actually give you a very good idea of if your games are actually supported by Linux. As you can see, we have a lot of games which are deck verified, which is like the Steam Deck, games on ProtonDB recommended by 3 or more. We have a lot of games which are actually extremely playable on Linux, and you won't find an iota of difference whether you're running on Windows or on Linux, right? Now, this is one page. Another page is actually to check if your game is, if your anti-cheat game is actually supported. So if you go, are we anti-cheat yet? This is a page which shows you if your favorite competitive games are available on Linux, because as you know, even though Linux supports BattlEye and a few other anti-cheat software, some developers, they just don't want to play ball with Linux, right? And as you can see, we do have 194 supported games, 276 running, 2 planned. A lot of them are broken. This is not Linux's fault, and 52 have been denied. So you can go through this list. As you can see, Halo is supported. Fortnite has been denied, so they actively don't want you to play Fortnite from Linux. Halo Infinite supported. Valorant, that's a no-go. Apex Legends, can't play that, sorry. PUBG, no-go. Smite, you can play that. So you can go through this list. Ark Survival, a very popular game recent days. You can play that too if you want to. So not everything is lost. You can play a lot of things on Linux. You just have to temper your expectations before coming to Linux as to what is actually available and what you want. And if you truly want to be in the clutches of microslop, like, you know, imagine you're a tiny animal over here and this dinosaur is about to eat you. That's how you feel. That's how I feel using Windows, but not on Linux, man. I have freedom. I can't play a few games, but I do have the freedom, and my computer does feel like mine. And KDE Plasma, it's just amazing. It's a fantastic piece of software. As you can see, it's very flexible, very fluid. The animations are excellent. You have a lot of gaming optimizations in KDE Plasma. This is extremely good software, and I think I'm not going to drag this video anymore. This has been way too long, so thank you for watching. Fedora is a fantastic operating system for gaming, and if you don't really want to have to go through the headache of configuring all of these yourself, you can download something called Bazzite. Bazzite is pretty good. It's immutable, but that's another story for another day. So I think with that, we can come to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you actually stuck around till the end, I would be floored to hear from you guys how you liked the tutorial. This is my first time making such a big tutorial for you guys. I was really nervous making this, but I think it turned out pretty well. I mean, you guys be the judge of that. And with that, we come to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.